Hey, happy Friday. It's Friday. um Today's topic is about the Maine mass shooting. Pretty soon you know full well that the anti-gun people are going to start, the anti-gun activists are going to start up again, and all of the pro-gun activists are going to be doing their rallies very, very soon. It's irrelevant what this shooter's intention was. When it's a mass shooting, there's always a call to stop the firearms sales and all this good stuff. And I don't even think it matters the motive as to what this guy was thinking. You know, honestly, I think because he couldn't find anybody liberal enough, he just decided to go to shoot anybody all around, you know. Because after all, what kind of a threat comes out of a bowling alley? You know, what kind of call to arms is supposed to be taking place at a bowling alley? You know, it doesn't make any sense. So this guy is just this another dumbass shooter that fell for his own, you know, BS, thinking that the world is coming to an end or whatever. I mean, and I could say that just simply because the actions speak for themselves. You know, going into a bowling alley to kill people is just as dumb as going into an elementary school and killing kids. You know, you're not stopping terrorists, and you're not doing anything worth a damn, you know, with the gun. So that's all the more reason why gun owners are now going to be taking the heat all over again. And rightly so. Rightly so. Everybody that's going to be protesting the death of firearms, the removal of firearms and all that, they're justified this time. They're justified. Because, again, killing people in a bowling alley is just as stupid as killing kids in an elementary school. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. So before you start, you know, thinking, oh, Obama's trying to take our guns and Hillary's trying to take our guns and all this other shit, stuff. Just remember, you know, they deserved it. They deserve to have, gun owners deserve to have the heat thrown on them. And I've said it before, and I will say it again. Gun owners should be furious when a gun owner does that. Like, I own a samurai sword, and I frown at and sometimes laugh at guys that think that they're badasses with samurai swords, because it's just not honorable, the reasons that they use their sword. This one guy in Mexico had a samurai sword smuggled in, and he literally tried hacking his way out of prison. And at the end of this intersection of a hallway was you know, guys with guns that had him stand still at a standstill. And what finally stopped the guy was a couple of prison guards with a push broom that wound up cornering him and pushing the sword, the blunt end of the sword, up to his shoulder and squishing him into a corner. And the only thought that crossed mine and my fellow swordsmen's minds is that if he really knew how to use that weapon, he would have had to have been shot down by the guards that had the guns waiting for him at the end of the hallway. Okay? All of us spit on guys that think that they're cool doing that. Guys that think that they're powerful with a sword in their hand. You know, the LA riots, somebody was wielding a machete, chasing off these guys who were busting business windows. You know, the problem with him is that he kept chasing them and even when they circled around, instead of going on guard, if he knew what he was doing, he would have stayed on guard and would have, told them to get away, leave the businesses on his street alone, And I think it was a business on one of his business or something like that. I don't really know why. The film didn't really explain that. And much less did the guy that was wielding the weapon state anything. He was just chasing people away, screaming and yelling like a madman. And he ran and ran around in circles and running back and forth until he tripped. And that was all that the people, the young adults that were rioting, that was all that they needed to do to jump him and beat him. I think they beat him to death. I'm not really sure. The video shows him where he was completely unconscious and yet everybody was still stomping on his head. So yeah, we frowned at that. Sword owners like myself, we frown at that. When you're wielding a bladed weapon like that, you need to be on the defense. You need to do it for the sole purpose of protecting people. And it was very obvious that this guy, this young man, I want to say he was like 19 or 20, just felt power wielding that bladed weapon, despite the fact that it was just a machete. But nevertheless, it was a bladed weapon. And he felt power and he took it out of context and got carried away with it. You're not supposed to do that with any weapon, even a gun. And you try telling this to the NRA and they won't spit on it. They won't acknowledge that. Hence the reason why people like me is saying, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Oh, gun rights this and we've gun rights that and everybody's trying to, and it's the government trying to take away. We're going to have to bury our guns and blah, blah, blah. Don't listen to that crap. Don't listen to that crap. Real gun owners, there's no real gun owners these days. There's no actual gun owners that are real honorable and all this other stuff concerning weapons. Because as soon as somebody gets shot, they get on the defensive. Okay, as soon as a serious matter has to be looked at, they get on the defensive. And the accusations, oh, you're just trying to remove our guns. You're against the Constitution. You're this and you are that and you're this and all this other stuff. Okay? Real weapons owners frown at and try to do the best that we can to get those weapons out of bad people's hands. Because as I've stated with the one wielding the machete, he got out of hand. Yes, he did feel the power, but he got out of hand with his stopping the riot, stopping people from looting and rioting and busting up businesses. Oops. Sorry. I just realized I left my car on. Wink, wink. So yeah, expect the heat to come down on them. I'd also say support them, because it's pretty obvious they're not gonna get all these guns removed. They're not gonna. But any kind of obstacle to get the guns out of people's hands, especially bad people's hands, like, mental health checks, age requirements and all that good stuff. Certain time spans that you got to wait before you can actually get your gun. All that stuff, it just helps, It just helps. It's like 9/11. Anybody that says, I want to learn how to fly the plane, and says, oh, sure, and this is how you land it, too. No, I don't care about landing it. That's a warning sign, We've learned that after 9/11. That's a warning sign. That's somebody that has every intention of using a plane like a bomb. Same thing can be done with guns, If you're not meeting the criteria of a sane mother lover, you're nothing but a nut. Yeah, you should have your guns removed. And the story so far about this guy that shot up people in Maine, one of the things that caught my attention was that he had bathed himself in his blood, bathed himself with blood of a deer that he shot. And now I got to be honest, if you shoot an animal and you got to carry the darn animal all the way back to your truck or whatever, your vehicle, blood is going to splatter at some points. If you carry it the wrong way and it spills all over you, you're going to be bathed in blood. Blood is just like water, but only colored, and it splashes. Okay? So the testimony of one of his neighbors saying he saw him at a taxidermy, bathed in blood, smoking a cigarette, laughing with friends, while the deer was getting skinned. Okay, that's not a sign of insanity. Okay, I'm sorry. That's just dumb. Because it's not like the two Russian kids, or I think they were in Russia. The 2 or 3 Russian kids, they filmed themselves murdering a homeless man. They filmed themselves beating to death an old woman. And they've also filmed themselves in a private location killing animals. Okay, they killed them, they burnt them, they sliced them up, they shredded them, when they were younger, before they started moving on to people. Okay? That is the concern that I'm talking about. Now, unless this Maine shooter, Maine mass killer in the state of Maine, unless this mass shooter has videos or photographs of himself starting off in his younger days doing that, killing animals and stuff, and then moving to a person, like a homeless guy, leading up to the killing, well then you could say, yeah, he was a nut, he was a douchebag, he was an inhumane nut bar. You could go on and saying that, but right now there's so much mystery concerning this guy. For all we know, he moved up to shooting after being a punk to people, shooting out those transformers, cutting off power in places like Virginia and that one place over in California. Some people might have died during a winter freeze. Some people might have died during extreme summer, like the one in California. Some people might have died in the freeze, like over in the east. I think it was in Virginia. And if he's got blood on his hands that way, then it makes sense. He would go shoot up a bowling area, a bowling hall, a bowling ball. Yes, a bowling ball. That too. Why not? But yeah, all that being said, whatever his reasons, we're going to go back to people looking at how messed up it is to have firearms in this day and age, with this high population of people, with X amount of crime being done with the handgun, or with any gun for that matter. And one of the most deadliest guns being used, needs to be removed, and all this other stuff. All that stuff is going to come again. I say support it. Because everybody that's in favor of guns isn't. Everybody in favor of guns doesn't care as to what they prove it. As sure as they get on the defensive, no matter how much they say, well, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Yeah. But the people are the ones getting the guns. Everybody that's a gun supporter won't try for regulations. They won't try for certain rules and requirements to achieve in order to get the gun. Okay? It's just that simple. They will demonize the victims. They will go as far as demonizing the victims. So, I say support the gun regulators, support the gun people that are anti-machinists. Honestly, it's not going to happen. But the settling for the stuff, just between you and I, settling for the regulations and stuff is and should be the main goal. We go as far as removal of guns, which is not going to happen. But once the regulations start and certain rules to ascertaining certain requirements to get the gun start being put into effect and upheld by law, oh shit, we're going to see a huge reduction of crime. Not to say that gun violence won't happen. I am saying that we are going to see these senseless ones and these other stuff and all that. There's more than likely it's just going to be more motive leading to it. And still, those numbers are going to drop. Those numbers are going to drop like it's nothing. As sure as gun regulations usually does drop concerning those particular guns. The 1990s was proof of it. Okay? The removal of M16s back when that was the popular machine gun. Okay? No extreme fire. The removal of Uzis. Those became illegal. Now, in the streets, handguns were the popular thing. They were popularly used. But they were also once handled, the reduction of gun violence also took place. Sorry. It's hot and humid out here in San Antonio, Texas. Also with various things outside of the gun world. Boys and girls clubs to keep your kids safe. More drug rehabs and drug facilities. Clinics to help you kick the drugs. Stuff like that also wound up playing a huge part in gun violence reduction. And of course, anti-gang programs. It helped. None of those one things was the solution, but it helped. It helped reduce the gun violence immensely. So back to this anti-gun and anti-whatever thing. It's not going to happen. But the more regulations and the more programs that we've got to reduce it will help. It'll just plain help. To regulate and requirements enforced and stuff, it helps. So for right now, the rallying to remove guns hasn't even started yet. Okay, it's just day 2 or 3 after the mass shooting. Okay, it's going to. And my suggestion is support it. Okay, support it. All of these rallies that are against guns violence by way of banning the gun, because again, it's not going to happen. Guns are not going to be banned. But the programs to keep people and slow down the nut bars, And here's another thing. These regulations and all that for people that are declared unhealthy, the more time they have against them in retrieving a gun, the quicker and more easier it is for law enforcement to find out, wait a minute, this gun's going to a lunatic. And they're the ones that can actually prohibit the wacko from getting a gun. Okay? The gun shooting in Uvalde was proof of that. A guy got a gun at 18, pre-ordered it at 17. He got the gun around just a couple of days after his birthday, his 18th birthday, and everybody knew he was a nut. Everybody already knew that he was in love with death. Everybody already knew that he was out. He had a thirst. He was out to kill somebody. You know? Regulations and time delays, you know, with the excuse of background checks and criminal checks and all that, that would have helped law enforcement to keep the gun from getting into that gunman's hand. Ramos was his name. Last name is Ramos. Look it up for yourself. I'm not making any of this up. It's just statistically proven that regulations helps. So, you know, but right now it's the manhunt is still going on. Trying to find this guy is still taking place. And it's not going to be long until the rallies start again. You know, support the anti-gun rallies. They're not going to win their case, not by a long shot, not in America. But regulations to compensate for it can be developed, and that we can actually be at peace with. That's going to be our little secret. That's going to be our hidden target that we're actually looking for, because it just plain helps. That the settlement that the anti-guns organizations is going to have to settle with is something that you and I are actually going to be looking forward to. Okay? Alrighty. That's all that I'm going to talk about right now. I'm going to close it up before 25 whole minutes goes by. I just yap and yap and yap sometimes. I do apologize. But if you like anything you hear, you know, throw your 2 cents in. If you don't, give a reasonable explanation. Don't just mudsling, because everybody that mudslings, I delete and block and remove and all that good stuff. You got to put something presentable up there, you know, and it's astounding to me how nobody is putting stuff up there, you know. I would have thought people that knew the law would have thrown their stuff in concerning everything that I've talked about concerning the law. I would have imagined people that knew. I mean, like, I can only imagine that anybody overseas has to keep quiet about certain missions that they've done, you know. But to speculate, you know, certain aspects of those foreign cultures, you know, could take place, you know, because of the cultures and the relations with us, the U.S., you know, I would imagine that would have been a huge eye-opener if they had posted that. But I'm not getting any kind of feedback on that either. I've got a pretty good feeling that a lot of people that even served over there, overseas, you know, are just as clueless as we are. Well, not clueless, but not as well informed as we are over here in the U.S. And it's a minor concern. It's a minor concern, and it's a little shocking, you know, because when it comes to the negativity, I'm looking at the same thing, you know, just them spitting on the subject, on me, for my train of thought. They don't know how to handle the situation either. They just know to say you're a socialist or a communist, or, you know, or you're stupid and you don't know what you're talking about, you know. But little clues in their segments of their demonizing me clearly say that they don't know what the hell they don't know what to make out of the subject either. And that's a little concerning, because I was kind of hoping to read a lot of opinions that would open my mind even further to see things through different venues. So this request comes with, you know, with that. Your opinions, please make them reasonable. Don't mudsling, because I'm just going to delete you like I do everybody else. And even if, or even, let's say you're confused about something also, you know, throw that in the comments section. Let me read it. Let me see. Let me find out, you know. Who knows? I might actually have the answer for you. But whatever the case, I said I wasn't going to go over 25 minutes, and now it's over 25 minutes. I'm out of here, okay? I'm sorry for taking up more of your time. But I had to vent that out. I had to let that out. And I hope that everybody out there stays safe. It's Friday, so we got another weekend of stuff to worry about. Let's let's try to take care of each other. Let's look out for each other and watch out for any kind of suspicious activity in our neighborhoods, in your neighborhood. Y'all take care, okay? Stay safe. This is Chris with Chris's Comments, signing out.